Yeah, on.
Yep.
The old Twitterian on and things.
It's on and working and we're recording.
Oh dear. Right, hello everyone. For the more eagle-eyed of you, I'm not the chair, Roz. I am chairing it in her absence. Hi, I'm Councillor Curdale. It's been a while since I've chaired this, so fortunately I have got the chair of the council to prompt me into how to doing this when I lose my thread, and of course Eve and Debbie. Apologies for absence. I noted that one apology came through from Jane. Is that right? And were there any others?
Michelle Chapman
at the
resigned.
preceding meeting said she didn't think she was a member of this committee.
Oh, okay.
And that she was just invited from time to time.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
So she declined to come tonight.
Oh, okay.
But we just had a preceding
But
meeting.
she's still working on.
We had a
on
preceding meeting,
events.
so we'll update on
Okay.
at the appropriate juncture.
Isn't she? Well,
Okay. Do we have approval for the reasons of
yeah,
absence?
so it's proposed then. Yeah.
Second.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff.
Have a lot of vote.
Declarations of interest. Received declarations of interest from councillors on items on the agenda. Do we have any?
Don't think so.
Don't think so. No.
Written request for dispensations for disclosable pecuniary interest.
Non-received.
No.
Receive and consider requests for dispensation as appropriate. Presuming that we haven't received any of them.
Sorry, just going back to where do I need to declare interest in Friends of Bingley Pool with the charity stall?
Okay.
Does
That item.
It'll be withdrawn
It'll
that
be
because there ain't
withdrawn.
any
We
charity
haven't got a
stalls
market
anymore.
All right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Right. Ignore me.
Okay.
Now, Matt, but if we're going to talk about events, and I'm talking about what was bandstand stuff, I did mention Friends of Myrtle Park within that,
Yep.
and it might be in conjunction with them. So I am a member of Friends of Myrtle Park.
Fair enough. Thank you, Councillor Good. Minutes of the previous meeting. So they were circulated. You'd have to have very good memories to ratify that they're faithfully accurate, because unfortunately the most recent meeting that was held, that was quorum, was the 17th of August. I wasn't able to attend that one either. Are there any comments?
I think they're reasonably accurate. Chris, did you?
Yeah,
It's just me and you who were present.
I read them. So
I'll propose them. Chris, you can second them. That's fine.
yeah, go on then.
We'll accept them.
Okay, excellent. Confidential items to be discussed after 22, 23, 33. Do you have any on the agenda? No. Does anyone propose moving any to the confidential element of the meeting? Public participation. I think we're okay on that one, unfortunately. So moving into the main body of the meeting, 22, 23, 29. So this is a section on communication. There are several sub-elements to this. Some of this we'll get to it as we'll get to any that need to be pulled or reconsidered as we reach them. Okay, so the broader idea here is to consider our communication with the public and agree recommendations to the full council. So, A, to consider greater communication with the public, including local radio and social media. So, I remember the clerk forwarding an invitation to go on to a local radio station for all town councillors.
Yeah.
I don't know how people feel about that. I think that it's the appropriate time to discuss it. I think it was sort of left at the discretion of each councillor, if I remember rightly, as to whether they want to go on it, or is
It
that
was
wrong?
passed on to this committee.
This committee.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we feel about that? There's also the social media element of this, but if we take the local radio element first, I think that might be the wisest thing to do.
They were doing programmes on
They
local
were like
council.
making a programme, weren't they?
Yeah,
About,
and coming and interviewing.
Yeah.
different councils. I think they've done Keighley, haven't they?
Right.
I don't know. I
okay.
don't know if anyone's heard what
No,
that was
no.
or.
So I understood that there was like a sit-down interview with the
Yeah.
host of the radio station, whose name I'm not remembering. I know that Councillor Williams was keen. He presumed that I may have an interest. I don't at the moment, but I suppose it's up to us to devise whether it is at the discretion and behest of individual councillors, whether we think that's a good idea or whether we should act unanimously and sort of go through the clerk as we do with most media engagements.
Well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Nothing's really at the behest of individual councillors. They all have to go through the clerk, and it's whether I think this group wants to.
That's just,
Put-
that's
put
just what I'm
forward
going to
that we
say.
do something.
Shall do we want to say that we'd like to ask councillors to get involved or not at this, you know?
Yeah, well, we need to clarify whether that window is still open.
Well, absolutely, yeah, it's a while since.
Yeah. Should we just basically do that? Should we ask the clerk to?
Find out what background is of it,
Yeah.
and if they're still interested, and then we can move on. Then, yeah.
Yeah, would that be okay? With you?
Yeah.
And then from that we can sort of decide which direction we go in. And social media. So this one's a little bit of a loose end here because in sort of creating the terms of reference for this, I did have more social media engagement in the back of my head. However, that is a hole that has been very ably filled by the staff, specifically Debbie. So, is there a need for this to be discussed, or is this a non-issue?
I think as long as we, you know, when we meet, we make sure Debbie's up to date with everything we want her to.
Yeah.
And I'm as guilty of anybody as not doing that, you know. But I think we need to sort of get into that
Yeah, I still think
habit.
I still think we could be better at putting
Doing
out there
more.
what we're all about, and whether that will come up later in the community engagement policy,
Yeah.
what we want to do.
And things like dates for grants to be applied for and
Yeah.
SIL funding and things like that. Get people applying for this money and spending it so we can see they can see the benefit of it and we can.
In fact, just before you all arrived, I was just talking to Debbie about our year at a glance calendar, which is so out of date. But it could be a vehicle where we do get some of that information more directly in front of people as to these are key dates in.
And not just on Apple, but sharing them to the local community groups so that where people are looking.
They can see and know, yeah.
Okay.
When we're talking about radio, are you specifically talking about whatever this thing is that you're on about, where somebody went into a studio and got interviewed?
Yeah.
Or are you talking about, I don't know, something weird kicking off in Bingley and Pennine Radio, or whatever they call it now, rings Councillor Williams up and says, will you give us a statement?
That's a terrifying thought.
No, that's why I picked him.
Yeah, it's the latter more than the former. So there was a set programme or series where they wanted to talk to councillors, and that's more what it's in relation to than being a point of contact.
More of the radio station going to us rather than us going to the radio
Yes.
station.
And it being a one-off, but like half hour or 1 hour programme around.
Yeah. Well, have we got a policy if
I think
somebody rings councillor so and so up and
Yeah.
asks for a statement?
Yeah, it has to
Yes,
be. It has to
they
go through
shouldn't
the
do it,
clerk.
they should refer.
It has to go through the clerk.
Do they all know that?
Yes.
They don't always adhere to it, but yes. I couldn't comment on who. Are you looking at me thinking, you've done that, you idiot?
I am.
Yeah, I did that without thinking, so I'm just as guilty as anybody else.
It can be difficult because I've had someone and you've no idea who they are, and you answer the phone and they ask you a question.
Yeah,
They don't
but there is a
always
policy, just people need to adhere to it and make sure that they're aware of it.
as much as possible.
Yes. But are you trying to make the point, why would this be different to the existing policy?
Yeah.
It's a fair point. Okay. And social media. So something I wanted to ask was, Debbie, what would you want from us that would be helpful?
Just
the information. I can help with graphics if someone says, oh, this is going on this date, I can put something together, or just send it to me. I send it to Lee, she'll send it to me, and I can put it out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I can set up schedules for it to go later in the week, later in the month, whenever.
Okay.
Just information.
I think we just generally need to get better at.
Yeah, more and more.
We need to advertise what we're doing, not the week before, but we need to be having a run up to it,
Yeah.
don't we? So that people know what's coming up and what's happening when.
The only thing I ever see on Facebook, which is, I didn't know Bingley Town Council had an account on Instagram. On Facebook, the only thing I ever see is there's a meeting like this one, or the one last night, or the planning one or whatever. I never see anything about it, and I read Facebook avidly every day. So I don't know what you're supposed to be seeing, but I ain't seeing.
I think that's what we're trying to do, isn't it? We're trying to get more of that out there. That's what we need to do, be more visible.
But I think there's
Events.
more initiatives that we can be pushing as well. I think before Christmas, I think there was a little bit more to be advertised, because I remember seeing a few different things in the autumn that weren't just quite a stoic, here's a meeting.
Because his meeting's not very exciting for anybody, is it? Unfortunately,
No.
exciting as it may be for
The
us.
next planning meeting might be exciting, but we'll see.
Yeah, do we sell tickets to that? Earn some money. Okay, is there anything for us to resolve on A? Or can we move on to B?
I don't think so. I mean, I think, Chris, are you happy if we think we've got something out there? Are you happy that Debbie might occasionally contact you and say, have you seen this?
Yeah.
So we could just see what the reach
Well,
or something.
they've got my email address, so why not?
Okay. Item 29B, resident suggestions from recent events. So there are 22 items on this list. A decent proportion of them relates to litter picking and rubbish,
Right.
and bins in general.
Well, we have litter picking every 6 weeks. I don't think that I can do any more than that. I think we do like an extra one for the that fits in between. And last year we did one, and I think that's coming up shortly. I haven't been notified yet with the not the Canal and River Trust, the Air River Trust.
Right.
We did another one like that, and as I was saying last night, there's something with Bingley Rodal, so I mean that Bingley Town Council, but it's sort of Bingley Town Council, if you know what I mean, because we're involved. So I think as regards and covering the area, in general, the lit situation is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think so.
But
I agree.
you know,
One of the things we do
you don't
very well.
go around and say, well, I keep asking, don't I? Tell me somewhere to go,
Yeah.
and we'll go there. But so I think to cover those items on litter, I think we're covering those already.
I completely agree. And for YouTube land, of anyone who suggested these, would we welcome suggestions?
Yeah,
With
absolutely,
locations?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I put that in newsletter. Always, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a very
Because it's a problem. It's
I
a
would
problem
like to
finding
think that
someone.
the people who are suggesting this get involved with a bit of litter picking.
Well, yeah.
You can't-
Well, we
you
don't
can't
know.
complain
we don't-
about it if you don't do
yeah.
it yourself. can
No,
you?
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
And given we've covered off a decent proportion there, we'll quickly run through them one by one. More local produce at markets, supporting handicrafts and businesses. That's a little out of our hands now. In case residents aren't aware, the farmers market is no more. It is the artisan market,
Yeah.
and that is in the hands of Bradford. We are happy to support that because it is a little bit busier and hopefully will continue to increase footfall and encourage people into Bingley.
Yes, and I did ask at that meeting, and there's some of the ones that were going to our market as well
Going to
signed
the-
signed
to
up
that one.
to that, so that's going to increase that number as well.
Yeah, I think in a previous meeting, maybe in the July one, we were talking about reversing the negative spiral of momentum and making it positive, and it seems like this is doing the trick with it
Yeah.
at the moment. Let's hope it continues. bring back the swimming pool and restore it. I think that might be slightly outside of our budget, unfortunately, although we are supportive of Friends of Bingley Pool.
And we await the levelling up bid
And we always
result,
levelling up bid.
which we believe is imminent.
Yes. We'd have been stickers updated and circulated. I'm not entirely sure what that refers to. I'm presuming that that's a Bradford Council thing because they give the
What's that? What's that?
item 3
Oh,
on.
wheel bin stickers,
Wheelie
all right.
bins.
Yeah.
I think when I first moved in here, which was many years ago, people had stickers that actually had the dates on when the bins were
Oh, they
collected.
did. They did.
Oh,
But
see.
that's gone way by
It
now.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, they haven't done that for
They
a
haven't done
week.
that for
That'll have
years.
gone in a budget
No.
somewhere, won't it?
It will.
Budget
Yeah.
got somewhere.
It's just on brown bins now.
Yeah.
Well, it's,
So,
yeah.
so wheelie bins aren't
Well, to say
our
that.
No.
purview,
To say
are they?
that,
So,
yeah.
again, it's
It's
Bradford
all on the
Council.
internet if you want to know when they come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
I was looking yesterday. Yeah.
And from an environmental standpoint, it's also difficult to justify on top of that. Better bus or train services to reduce volume of cars. So there was, again, this is beyond our remit strictly, so we could just strike it, but I think we're going to have time to discuss things if we want to. There was discussion over the autumn about the route up to Eldwick, whether that was going to be axed or not. There was a will they, won't they with it. I'm not entirely sure whether they're will they or won't they at this point, to be honest.
I think they've
I think
they've
it's
backtracked
staying.
and it's staying, isn't it?
Mm.
As far as I'm aware, it's staying.
They could think about when they're running buses, because I go for a walk at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, and every Sunday morning coming down from the top of Eldwick is a bus.
Empty bus.
And guess how many people are on it?
Yeah.
0, yeah.
And the same at 10 o'clock, apart from an odd lady that's going to church in Bingley.
I don't think there were massive issues in central Bingley with it. Or none have been raised.
No, I think the only thing I would say is as part of the neighbourhood plan, there are some things in there around most of the outlying villages where there isn't a bus service. And as we look to the future, if we do want to reduce car traffic, then that's maybe one of the things we want to address. But that would be a long-term thing rather than something we can directly do something about today.
It might be better if, instead of using these 48-seater buses, Keithley
Yeah.
Transport seem to use basically
Yeah.
a minibus.
Yeah.
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 Something like the access buses
Yeah.
that kick around.
Yeah, it seems more than that, isn't it? Yeah. Those great, they're great. Well, they're all, I think, all green, aren't they? But yeah, the one that go up to Cullenmouth and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Number 10, in the present economic climate, please cancel the clean air zone. There are better ways without penalising the poor city and people. CAS is beyond our remit,
That is definitely
unfortunately.
Bradford Council. I assure you.
Yeah.
I think you jumped over number 9.
Oh, I have, yes. There are no park and ride sites, and bus fares are very expensive.
Again, I'm assuming that's aimed at Bradford rather than
Well,
Bingley.
bus fares are £2 now wherever you
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can go to Scarborough for £2.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
It's good to know. I didn't know that, to be honest.
Yeah. You get a bus from Leeds to Scarborough, it's £2.
Yeah, it's difficult to view that as very expensive, isn't it?
How long that will last, because that is just an
Well, it's a
current
3-month.
Well, it's
initiative, isn't it?
It's,
see the point,
it's a
it's
mare
quite-
thing, isn't it?
It's quite expensive to travel a few stops if you're coming from Crossflats to Bingley or Cottingley to Bingley.
Yeah.
If there's a couple of you, it's
Yeah.
it's just as expensive to get a taxi. So I can see the point that they're making, but I don't think park and ride is viable really.
No.
In our villages, is it really? Where would we put them for a start?
Well, yeah. It couldn't be sort of in the rural that way because of the Island Bridge.
The only way I've ever known it is that they used to have one, not for that, but for Bingley Music Live, they'd have one from
What used to be Billings
Bradford and
Society.
Bingley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What used to be,
But-
used to be Bradford and Bingley.
UCAR, yeah.
11, get more money spent in the town and more businesses thriving, but surely changing their delivery drivers will. Am I reading the same thing?
Charging. I think that's CAS
charging.
type stuff again,
Oh,
isn't
right,
it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, more CAS stuff. Number 12, cycling club where we can repair our bikes. It's a nice idea.
Isn't the men's shed going to be? Aren't they looking at something like that when the men's shed gets up and running?
I'm not sure exactly what they're looking at, but
They're looking at getting younger people involved in there when they get up and running. And I know the one that Andy had been to look at up in North Yorkshire. They were getting involved in all sorts of stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that might be a direction.
we can ask him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
What was that? So what initiative was that?
cycling club,
Alright.
Who's doing it? The men's.
Well, we don't
men's
know.
shed,
We're not sure.
Bingley men's
Oh,
shed.
that-
It's just,
And
it's just a mooted early idea
Yeah.
that they might
Is
go
it?
into that area once they're set up and running.
Andy Allison's organising.
Is it
It's set up-
Andy and John Rhodes?
John Rhodes.
Yeah.
It's been set up as a,
Yeah, I
Different
know
charity now,
about it.
isn't
He approached me about it before he started it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and just while we're on that topic, it
Trying to
entered
get
my
him
head
to be a
yesterday at the Poole
trustee.
Town Council meeting. I think they're doing a really good job.
Who's that?
But Andy Alderson,
Oh, yeah.
generally,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and with reference to the men's shed and John Rhodes, I think they're doing a really good job. Yeah. Cycling club, smaller side. One of the businesses in Bingley talked about a communal cycle electric bike that businesses could share as an idea. It's got a name and it's evading me completely. But Hedgehogs were talking about it as an idea. And I thought it was a lovely idea, but I'm unsure as to how the council could really facilitate it or get involved, unfortunately. I can look at that more though. More bins. One or two by the cricket pitch and in Myrtle Park by the rivers. Okay.
What cricket pitch are we talking about, do you think?
I think they're on about Kongs, aren't they?
I thought so. Well, there's one. I got one put at the end of this footpath that comes from Myrtle Park, and that were an extra one. So I sort of think it's covered. I don't think we need any more. Because there's plenty of grit bins for them to put the rubbish in, because that's what we usually spend. But it's better in the grit bin than in the. But
is there a little
in the river.
problem
yeah.
round the cricket
So there's
pitch
one.
or
There's
by
one
the
right at the end by the little cafe at the end,
Yeah.
at the end of Beckfoot Lane, and then the next one is, as I say, we got it organised it and got it put there just after Edwina had gone. So, yeah. Because we had a real success, because we had some in Cottingley Rec that gone or been replaced, and one by the cricket club, rugby club as well, that opposite there. Unfortunately, somebody's backed into that one, but it's still usable. So I don't think that, unless we wanted to buy another bin, I don't really know where you'd put it on there.
No.
You know, okay.
No, I'm not opposing that.
Yeah.
Next 4, right up your street, John. More flowers. Plant more trees. Plant apple trees. More apples and trees for the sweet bees. It sounds like a rhyme.
Yeah. I think we covered on the flower side. We, as you well know, we distribute plants to the whole area.
Yep.
We have our own plants and what have you. I was speaking to Richard Dawson this morning. He was concerned about they took a tree out down the main street.
Outside HSBC. That one.
Yeah, cherry tree. Don't know whether we could get that replaced, but we do have approved trees for streets, £1,000 trees for streets, which is equivalent to 5 trees. That's just 5 trees, but the council plant them and then water them, and so. Do you think it'd be worth getting in touch with Parks? Initially, Ros and I went round and we chose 5 sites, but she has it all on the phone, so I can't remember exactly where they all were, but there were. One were in Aldi car park, one were in that little car park opposite Potting Shed,
Yeah.
and that one in the main street. I just wondered if it'd be worth getting in touch with Bradford and seeing if it could replace the one in the main street, or use these other ones. Well, as I say, I asked her if because she had the stuff on her phone, if she'd apply, because you sort of apply as an individual, if
Oh,
you
right,
like. Yeah. If you look Google trees for streets, it outlines it all there. It's for individuals basically, but I did suggest it and it was passed. So that'd cover, that's a few more trees, but there again, if there were areas where people wanted trees, so you could publicise that in cooperation with Bradford Council. We could perhaps, out of a green and clean budget, pay for some trees.
Okay. And this Trees for Streets scheme,
Yeah.
it's £1,000. Is that going to be £1,000 a year? So,
No, that's it.
Right. Okay.
So you either pay 100, and they'll plant it, but you have to water it.
Okay.
But the 200, it's 200,
250 or
and
200,
it's 200, and then they plant it and water it because
replace it if it dies in the
yeah,
first
yeah,
X
yeah.
years.
yeah.
Sounds like a no-brainer for you.
Yeah. Apple trees there again, I don't know, you can plant apple trees. Unfortunately, people they either don't like apples or they don't pick apples. The number of apples that are wasted every year is unbelievable. You can't call them wild apple trees, but there's trees on the sides of the roads. There's one on top of Cotton with floors covered in apples, and it's a waste. But if anybody there again, we could suggest. Has anybody got any sites? I could perhaps get in touch with WI who do some general dodging about round here, do some work by the swimming baths and round and about. I've just remembered I planted some plants in that plant around there, didn't I? I wonder how they're going on. So that's to cover that item. Perhaps we could advertise, and say, we've had a suggestion. Has anybody got any suggestions where they'd like?
Yeah.
Because that's always been a problem. We've in the past we've had been asked about trees, and I know Edwina did a piece on it, and the response were minimal.
Yeah.
But
So-
if you went out to the general public rather than individual councillors, you might get some suggestions.
Yeah. And how? So are we thinking go straight to social media with this, or are we thinking we approach WI
Well,
Friends of Metal Park first and give them the opportunity? Or
I think do both. Just go for it and see. We can't go wrong, can we? I mean, everybody's supposed to be planting trees these days, so
Yeah.
if we come up with some ideas, and then we can decide from there.
Yeah.
Can we afford it? Shall we do it? And all the rest of it. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
should we go as far as proposing that Debbie put a social media post together and invite councillors to share?
Canvas opinion on trees.
Yeah.
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 Does that-
Yeah,
does
just
that
say
need to
just
be
say it's been
seconded?
discussed in this meeting, and we'd like the public's views on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we need a
Suggestion.
proposition and a second? of
Yeah,
that?
I should think so.
Oh,
Yeah, well, I'll second it.
Right,
Yeah.
go
favour.
for it.
Yeah.
you shouldn't have said that you needed us to give you some content. Okay, thank you. Right.
I think we're on 18 next.
18 and
I think-
19 recycling bins in the town and then near the counter.
I think we've about the recycling bins. I don't know about recycling bins. There's the only recycling bins that I know that are left, if there is some left, are by the small car park behind by the. Does anybody else know where they're anymore?
Behind
There's
Queen
some
Street,
down-
aren't they?
Queens.
There's some down by Binley Grammar and on Rishworth Bridge.
Right.
They're the half ones.
Mm.
So half recycling, half waste.
Oh yeah.
There's
There's
quite a few
yeah,
of them.
yeah, but not.
Not
No,
actually.
not. You mean small? I was thinking more the like bottle bank type of things.
Oh right, I see.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not really
I
sure.
interpreted it the same way as Mo, to be honest.
Oh, did you?
But,
Well, there's one.
but I don't think that's. I think they're two separate questions and
Well,
both could be addressed.
you see, there's still things there again. I've a little bit of experience. Chris also, because he were here at the time. But we did have a bit of a bin survey, and then we got to Bradford. As I say, after I'd been gone, I managed to get quite a number,
Yeah.
and they were paid for by Bradford at that time. But what the situation is that we can buy a bin or pay for a bin to be sited, and they'd empty it, but it belongs to Bradford Council.
Right.
Okay, and I think it was at that time it was £250 a bin, I think.
Because I suppose the bins the newer bins they put in, that are just litter bins round the market square, which take a lot of litter.
Oh yeah, them.
They're
yeah.
not segregated.
No,
are
no,
they?
no,
It's all
no,
just
no.
landfill.
So it'd have to, yeah.
Is there value in asking if we can sort of ask for future bins to be the half ones, or do we not think there's value in that?
Yeah, well, you could do. Yeah, I mean, it's how practical it is for them, isn't it? Because they come round early, mainly early morning. Now they do the access routes into. I think it's still this is still the policy where they come in and do the main drag into in and out of Bingley and that, and then they go out and they do certain areas once a week, certain areas twice every 2 weeks, and so on and so forth, depending where they are and how often they need to empty them.
Yeah.
But how would it be? I suppose it would be Brian Dobson to say if it's practical to suggest any half and half bins, say, or recycling bins.
Okay. So
What do you think about that?
I like the idea.
There's absolutely no harm in his making inquiries. Is there?
Yes.
Yep, sounds like a plan.
Proposition for the clerk.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
Proposition for the clerk to contact Bradford Council.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Trips and videos of recycling centres and how they work.
Now that was what has been an initiative by Bradford Council in the past.
Right. Okay. I wondered where that came from. It seemed a bit left field.
Right, initiative where I was invited, I couldn't get there, and then another time I put my hand up for it and it were oversubscribed, and the supply with books and all that, but that was to take you around Bollingback Lane, but the thing was, they didn't take you around at daytime when it were active, they just took you around, so I don't know, I think probably a video of it is just as gainful as actually going. I would have gone, right, but yeah. So that's where that comes from.
Right. Okay. I just thought it was a very left field suggestion without that context.
When Edith Gruby, I think they call her, she actually came to a Green and Clean forum and gave us a talk from Bradford Council about recycling and stuff, and it were yeah. So that's something we could do again, maybe for a forum, depending on how successful or not the next one is.
Yeah, that possibly ties into the next one, showing people what they can do to reduce waste. That probably more obviously ties in with Green and Clean.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I suppose in this hard times for people, anything they can do to help people make better use of what they've got rather than.
Yeah,
I mean, food waste is one of the massive problems in this country. I don't know if there's anything we can do on that, or any signposting we can do.
Could we publicise Bingley Food Bank and Bingley Community Kitchen, maybe?
Yeah, we're already covering the one spaces, aren't we?
Yeah.
Could we do
It might
that?
be worth doing that.
I don't know if people have to be referred to Bingley Food Bank.
Right.
Might be worth.
Looking into whether we do or not.
yeah.
You have to get a doctor's referral or something.
Yeah.
GP or something.
Oh, right.
Jeff will know.
Jeff
Jeff will know.
Councillor Winard will know.
Yeah.
But certainly Trinity Kitchen, I think, is just a community initiative, isn't it?
Bingley
Well, I suppose if
Kitchen.
people
Community Kitchen.
feel they need the food bank and they don't know how to go about it, it's worth putting, if we
Yeah.
can find out that information.
Yeah.
Actually, that's sort of an idea. That video thing is that something you could do in a thing like a forum is play a video in it like that, you know, for the public to see, and then that if we try to cover these that's on here,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's for the future.
Yeah. 22. The town council should employ an environmental warden, a person that is physically fit and has knowledge of power tools, and undertake vegetation clearance, footpaths, snickets, etc.
I agree 100%. I know, no, serious. I mean, we've had one, haven't we? But it lasted
have.
about 2 minutes.
Oh, I was meaning you.
No, not me. No. To replace me. No, I have said, and we'll go to planning. Not to planning. To staffing. It ought to be somebody who has some ideas to either, if there's somebody going to replace Ruth, it needs to be somebody who has some idea about allotments and it depends on, I suppose it depends on the hours. but they could go do a bit of strimming or something like that. If
We can look at the skills that we think would most benefit council and Bingley.
pardon?
Look at the skills that would most.
Well, skills, yeah.
Skills
I
that
thought you said
most
schools.
benefit
Yeah, skills. Yeah,
The
right.
council and Bingley itself.
Yes,
And,
yeah.
and that's
Because
one of
last
the things
time
we do wanna
it was
feature.
more of an administrative, well, sort of an administrative role. It wants to be partially administrative, but at the same time, it wants to be some practical.
Yeah.
You know, just to do something simple. You know.
There used to be a chap after Bingley Town Council got rid of this chap we've just been on about where he left. They used to go around with a massive vacuum cleaner.
It's still here. It's still here.
Who employs him or people?
Chris, no, he's a full time. Tell me what it is.
He's the ambassador.
Ambassador for Bingley, paid for. He's here 5 days a week, paid for by Bradford Council, and his machine's broke. That's why you don't see him with his.
I think he does a brilliant job.
He does
Well,
it's like
he does a
everybody else does.
fantastic
It's
He
like
does.
he owns Bingley.
It
He's
is.
going around getting a weed out.
He
here and
does.
stuff like that.
He's absolutely. I've told him so. I've liaised with him every time I see him, but he's had a lot of good reports, Chris. Yeah, he's
He's
good.
brilliant.
But effectively, he's really concentrating on the town centre.
Right, you're right. Yeah, he goes good. He goes. Yeah, I've seen him down
does,
by
he
Old
does the
Police
main
road. Yeah,
the main road,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he doesn't go into the outlying villages.
But you see, exactly. That's the whole point. We're a community, aren't we? We're a parish.
Yeah.
We've got all the other. You know, if somebody wants, you know, getting wet through because they're walking the dog and stick it's overgrown. You know, I could go do that and that sort of thing. So yeah. Okay.
Okay, moving on to 29C.
Can I just say something?
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, yes, please do.
We've just been through everything that the public suggested at various stalls or whatever. Could we not publicise that as a thing? So it looks like we are doing something. You said, it's like the
You said we did.
Tesco's or something. Yeah, you said we did.
Right.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. Excellent.
Quite agree.
That's what you're here for. Your
I'm not
expert-
doing it.
your expertise.
I'm doing Bingley Music Town. I've got enough of.
I'm coming to the next meeting.
What, Bingley Music Town?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not.
Should be good.
I am.
C, to discuss the publicising of grant
Right,
funding
yeah.
to local groups, including self-funding. So at the
Have
Fort
you
Town
been in and
Council
out?
yesterday there was a decent amount of SIL expenditure, which is good, which is going to be publicised through Town Council channels,
Tell me about it.
which is good. What more could we do to publicise grant funding?
Well, well, the SIL money.
Yep.
If that project goes through on electric, it'll more or less spend it. Okay.
Okay.
So, I'd ask if for the time being if you just publicise the grant scheme.
Right.
because it's money that needs I'll tell you what, because it's money that needs spending.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of it's got another 4 years on it, but I think that project, along with what I was suggesting about the bandstand things, is we could really develop that.
Yes, I
You
completely
know,
agree.
and we could have other things on, and
So let's publicise
I mean,
that result.
that's why I've come onto this committee, because I think
Yeah.
I'm really enthusiastic, and
Yeah.
I was enthusiastic about Bingley Music Town till Chris has said that. Anyway, I'm going to go. It just happens that I looked on social media, whatever, on the website. It's just a bit of an aside, but for the Music Town, and they have meetings regularly, but there's a meeting in Cardigan House on the same day as our F&GP, next F&GP, but it's at 5:30, so I shall go at 5:30 and see, and I shall let you know what's what.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you very
Okay, yeah,
much. Okay.
because you
Well, I
let
think-
know what's what as well.
I think we're reasonable. We're reasonably good when we give a grant to someone publicising that it's happened. What we don't do, and I don't think what we don't get enough of, is we don't get enough grant applications.
No, not at
in.
all. No, we
We
don't.
get grant applications in from the same groups
Yeah.
all the time
Yeah.
that know we're here and that know
Yeah,
that we can be viewed as a source of money.
Yeah.
But there must be far more community groups out there that could
There's
come to us.
so
for-
many of them, isn't there? There's loads and loads of them, and they're just need to come forward, don't they?
Yeah.
But we
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to be sort of shouting at them, come
Yeah,
and
yeah,
take the
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
You know, what do you want it for? What are you going to do? This might not. I don't know if this is the right point to bring it up, but I was thinking about maybe having an event where we invite all the community groups. So whether we get that arts centre up
Oh,
and we have a networking day, we put a few
Well-
tea and biscuits on, we get everybody in a room and say, right, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
What events do you want to run? What things can we come together on? You know,
'Cause-
what do you want to bring back, or what new do you want to bring into the town?
Because I find that this is sort of what happens at these green and clean forums.
Yeah.
You see, all they're mainly looking. It's when the gardening group, but it's representatives from all those
Yeah.
people you've said. You know, you get Prince of Wales Park, you get all the parks and
That's it. If we
the
get
community
all
groups.
those, all those in, and
Yeah.
the Seroptimists
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
WIs and the Scouts and
Yeah.
everybody, and we just say send a rep
Yeah.
and get people talking about what they want to do.
Yeah, that's been something.
Do you think we could do it with like the annual town meeting? Because we have an annual meeting, which is normally where we have people, we have given money to come along. And last year it was very poorly attended, but I don't think it was very well advertised.
No.
But if we were to tie it with, this is what we've done, what would you like us to
But I think if we call it
set
an
out for next?
if we call it an AGM, people tend to go no matter what the subject. So I think if we do, we need to say
Does it-
AGM and
Does it have to be
network.
called annual
It's a
town
agenda.
meeting?
Yeah.
That's it.
Can we?
Or can we say
Oh, no.
annual town meeting, wind that up, and then
Then
say,
have a
right, we're having
networking.
networking. But I'm talking maybe we do it on a Saturday afternoon or something.
The only issue
Yes.
that I've got with it is that we've only got so long left in the council. In this
That's
council
true.
session.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
yeah.
we could go out and say, right, we're networking, nice to meet you all, and then we all get voted out. And
Yeah,
then
so,
and all of the processes might go with us.
that's an excellent. That's an excellent point, and I think I think it might be as well to leave it until next council, but definitely to do it.
Yeah,
Definitely to do
I think
it.
it's a very worthwhile thing to do.
Yeah.
Just maybe not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine, whenever. But I
So-
just think, because to be honest, we're now in January.
Yeah.
We're going to have to build up some small events this year, aren't we? But if we met in, say, June, July, you know, and you know,
Yeah.
given if, you know, some of us or all of us are back or whatever,
Yeah.
and then we can be planning for the fall for 2024. And saying, right, let's get a calendar of events.
I'm
What's
watching it,
everybody
I'm
going to be
watching it.
doing,
Really,
and what are they going to be running?
How long
Because
does it take?
that's the way you're going to get a
Yeah, I'll do it
gala
in
or
10
anything like
minutes,
that up and
cut
running again, a carnival or
Without-
a
without
day,
making any speech.
a whole day event for
Easy.
children or whatever, is to get these different groups doing the different bits, which is how it worked before.
Yeah. Equally, just to argue against myself, yes, we don't have long left in the council session, but to get people interested in the elections, because I think that's important. Maybe there's a point of having it before, just to make the exact
Or
counterpoint
to
to what
say
I said.
that that's what's in the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, said that's what we're planning.
Yeah,
And then if the new
against what I've
council
just
decide not
against
to,
what
well,
I've
look.
just suggested, equally, you'd see if there were the interest, wouldn't you? So, well,
You know,
how are we going to do it? Let's
we
get
write to all these groups and say, are you willing to take part in a networking session where we put something on and you all meet each other and
Yeah.
we talk about what we'd like to, as a calendar of events for 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we have that somewhere around March, April,
which time to organise it from then.
we'll have one of these at least between now and then.
Yeah.
What we
For
need to
sort of just after
possibly.
Easter or something like that, don't you? When
Yeah.
weather's getting a bit better and people
Yeah.
are out and about a bit more. And
The only issue we've then got is whether it could be seen as being
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
oh yeah,
Further.
of course, Purdy, yeah.
Well, there's a period of.
there's a
something.
6-week period.
6-week period
It's known
before.
as
Ah, yeah.
Purda.
That's it.
It's
So maybe we do
Purda, I
have
think.
to have it afterwards then. But
Yeah,
maybe
we do,
we
don't
can. But maybe we can get people's interest and say we're planning to run it June, July.
yeah.
Are you interested?
Yeah.
If so, you know, are we sending the information to the right person? You know, so that we can just generate a bit of interest and say, right, this is what we've got planned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So that could be penciled in for the next council session. we can only pencil it in, can't we? Because we can't really bind them to do it.
No.
No.
Excuse me, Chair. I will have to go in a minute, and we're on to events. And I was suggesting it last night about this band thing, and I've been talking to. I don't really name names on here, but I've a representative, an officer of Bradford Council, who is prepared to book these things. I just want the go ahead. I think what I'll do is I shall ring her and talk to her first, because I've suggested that we might get Myrtle Park involved.
Yeah.
But then it needs doing officially, so it needs to be. She needs to be asked officially through the clerk if she'll do this for us.
Okay.
But if you want me to liaise with Eve after I've spoken to Julie, if that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
And as I say, this year, because we haven't got an electric, we might be. That's the point I want to talk to her. I'll explain all that to her and say that we are hopefully going to get electricity going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to prioritise and comment on before you have to
No.
go, John?
Thanks. I don't think so.
Sorry, you should have done this first.
So that involvement of city culture, well, you can sort that out, and organising events and consider suggestions, arts and craft day. Well, there again, that's another big thing. Let's get some of this money spent on this regeneration and budget,
Yeah.
and have an event. How we'd go about organising that, I don't know, but I'm sure we could do it.
You could do
It
something.
was actually Jane Stone that suggested that, but she's had to send apologies. But she says if we defer it, she can talk more on it next time.
Oh, that'd be good. Oh, that's excellent if there's somebody to do
but
it. Right.
They're still running the handicraft section, aren't they?
I don't-
Yeah, it's
Much as I hate to have to leave you, I'm going to have to leave you because I'm crying. Chris, I'll give you a call tomorrow, something, and you can explain
I'm
what's
at
going.
home all week.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Right, John,
Cheers.
see ya.
See ya. See ya.
Bye, bye, bye.
Okay. Review.
So just coming back to grant funding, yeah, we could do a big event, but in the short term, is there something we want to do? Like, I mean, I know the Shipley Community Chest, they like announce it every couple of months or
That's
whatever,
it,
don't
isn't
they? Do we need to do the same and just every couple of months push something out there that
I
says
think so. In fact, I'd
this is
say,
grant pot available, blah, 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 blah.
I'd even say once a month at the moment until things start to roll.
Yeah, that's a
I'd
good
say
point.
once a month, get it out there and say, look, we need you to apply to take our money. You know, we need to sort of make it a bit
Accessible.
about, yeah, we need to say to them, we're trying to give you money, come and get it.
Yeah.
Are you a community group that
Yeah.
could do more and wants to
And
do
I think
more than?
even if we say, and you know,
and also
we'll help you with the application and all that sort of stuff. I know we have to be careful on that stuff, but I think sometimes it's the applications that scare people. If they haven't got somebody on board
Okay.
Does
who
that
does that sort
understands
of
money,
thing,
really?
see,
Yeah.
CrossFox Cricket Club have a really good chap who does all this sort of stuff, but some little groups,
Don't.
maybe when they're a bit older, you know, they're not as au fait with the internet and one thing or another, they're probably thinking, well, what do we do? How do we do it? So I think we need to sort of encourage people and say, if you're struggling, you don't know what to do, contact us and we'll help. Somebody will help. You know.
Debbie, do you have a view on the maximum frequency of a post like that? Like once a month, once every 2 weeks, once every 2 months?
I missed the first part of that. Sorry, what kind of post is it?
We've got grant money, come and get it.
Okay. I can set up a regular monthly, like beginning of the month. I'll set something up. So first of the month, just to remind people that grants are there.
Yeah, we just want to sort of give them that feel. Please come and take the money, you know, and in any which way really, and saying things. You know, if you're struggling to fill in the application form, contact us. You know,
Yeah.
because some groups are of older people, you know, and they might be a bit apprehensive. So we want them to feel that even if that's a barrier, somebody will give them some support with it.
Yeah. That's
Do
fine.
we almost need to do like whether it be an hour, you know, how to do
How to complete a
a
grant
grant
application.
application,
Yeah.
grant application workshop or
Yeah.
something?
I think if we say, you know, help's available to even help you fill in the application form. So apply regardless. You know, if you think you can use it, apply.
Yeah.
I was thinking of, do we do a video, but the sort of people who want help probably
On the video.
wouldn't understand the video concept.
No, but I mean, like you say, we could do that. Couldn't we? We could say, well, look, we'll run a couple of sessions where you can come down
Yeah.
and we'll show you how to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Right then. The policies. The charity stall policy, I think we can retract. Review of communications policy. So there is guidance specifically for social media as well, further down on page 16 onwards. Above that is a general media policy, which communications policy, which I believe technically covers the radio interview if we were to view it in the same way as everything else. You've had time to review it. Are there any amendments or suggestions?
I think at the moment it refers to F&GP quite extensively, and that
Yeah.
probably all need to change into this committee, don't it?
Yeah, I agree. Is there anything else other than a control and F and replace? Because that's basically all that
Yeah.
I thought needed doing to it. Okay. So,
I'll propose it with that amendment.
okay. Any seconders to that with Philippa's amendment? Okay. Chris and all those in favour? Excellent. Community engagement policy. So, this is nicked from Newmarket Town Council, and they have got a policy that states exactly what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish, what they mean by community engagement, and what that means to them. I quite like this. I think it sets out relatively clearly and relatively succinctly what they're trying to accomplish in quite an amenable and accessible way. Are there any other views on this?
I like it. I don't think it's good, but
Had
it
a
does.
quick read through it. Seems
Yeah, I just had
reasonable.
a quick look, but it looks pretty much similar to what we need, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think someone needs to bingleyise it and bring it back, don't they?
Yeah. In the absence of anybody else, I can try and do that before the next meeting. It shouldn't be too arduous, so I'll take that as an action if people are okay with it. And then at that point, I suppose we'd vote on whether to adopt it or not, or to recommend its adoption at full town council.
Do you want me to send you like a template?
That'd be good. Yeah. Thank you. Next item. The editorial policy for newsletters. This one's slightly shorter. Tell the community about town's activities. Refer to town council rather than individuals. Not feature local groups unless there's a reason to do so, like reporting grant money. All articles authored by the town council. This was adopted in 2018. What are we doing here? Are we re-ratifying it and
I
applying
think
today's
we're
date?
re-ratifying it and then sending it through to full council to Nottingham. I just wonder why it's newsletters rather. It just seems like
Specific.
everything we would do, we would want to do from the council rather than.
Yeah.
I know newsletters were the main form of communication to start with, weren't they? So I don't know if it really needs wrapping into something else or we just broaden it. Is it
Editorial policy for communication.
Communications.
Yeah. It's a good thought. I also don't know how. I quite like how short it is.
I do like how short it is.
It's yeah, compared to the communications document, which is 18 pages or something, 4 lines, I'm quite taken with. Yeah, I support changing it for communication generally. Any other comments? Any other suggestions?
I suppose then the question is, do we fold it into the communications policy?
part of it, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That'll make it 19 pages. Well, 18 and a half pages.
I suppose it'll save ratifying 2 instead of
Yeah.
one next year, won't it, next
Yeah.
time?
I'd be happy. We can make those changes and send it to full council
Yeah, should
without
we-
bringing it back.
Okay, so do we need a proposition to fold this into the communications
Yeah, I'll
policy?
propose that then.
I'll second. Unanimous? Excellent.
Shall I do that then?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay, events. So 22, 23, 30. Consider town council's involvement in local events run by third parties, including involvement in the City of Culture. I think these are two slightly different things. So if we take the events run by third parties first, so the easiest example to point at is the Christmas fair, where we provide a decent proportion of the funding, so 50% of the funding, but we don't do anything beyond that. We're a slightly more dormant partner than we could be if we chose not to be. And I think that it's up to individual councillors as to how involved they want to be, but as a general theme, I think we should try to encourage councillors and the town council generally to take ownership of stuff that they own.
Yeah, I think not the problem with this one is that the preceding meeting, which was with the Chamber of Trade, they've already started planning these events for 2023, including booking the Market Square. So Easter, they're aiming to have it on Easter Saturday. Christmas, they've pushed it back. It's going to be Saturday, December the 2nd. Michelle's already on with all this stuff. I think we do need to get a lot closer to it and be a lot more proactive. But I think she's already well on the way.
Yeah,
I think the thing is, we are willing to get involved with it, but we need to know what.
Yeah.
If it is already in planning, what do they want us to do? What do they want us to take ownership of? Because if they want the help and the support, I'm quite happy to give them it. I'm quite happy to give time up and go and help, but I need to know what it is they want us to do. And I think that we should be getting involved more when we are spending that amount of money supporting it. Just handing the money over, it's all right, but people still don't see it as anything to do with us.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was going around saying to people, go use this stuff. Use this. It's been paid for. You've paid for it with the precept. You've paid for it. Go and use it. But a lot of people just thought, oh, this is good. So putting a few banners up and giving half of the money, I don't think we can get away with that anymore.
When you're talking about more councillors getting involved, controversial thing to say. Whenever I go to a Bingley Town Council full meeting, the only thing there seems to be a lack of is volunteers to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whether you're going to get, we've got one volunteer to get involved, but whether, well,
I
the
suppose,
blue
but
side of
again,
the council get involved, I don't know.
there is a range of skills in the council, and but those skills can't be used if we aren't told what is needed
What's
to be
needed
done.
and and it may well change come May anyway.
How is it?
Yeah.
Everybody's up for election in May.
Right. That'd be interesting times.
But even at Easter, if we get a list of things that they need help with,
We
we can
get
take
on
that to full council and say, right, who can help
Yeah.
with this, who can help with that, who can get involved in that.
Well, from what I've seen, the only ones that get involved with that is Mark Truelove and
yeah, they are active in the Chamber of Trade.
Well, that's it, isn't it? You see, I'm active in Chamber of Trade because
Well, there
I don't have a Bingley business.
there are two representatives
Yeah.
of the Chamber,
Yeah,
of the
so
Chamber of
that's-
Trade, so
So we don't get to know what's going. Well, I don't get to know what's going on, and that's not a criticism. It's just a case of tell me what you want me to do, and I'll turn up and do it.
Could I make a suggestion then that we, as a body, contact the Chamber of Trade, given they're the specific example here, and say, are we offering, or have they asked us to front any money for their Easter event?
they haven't yet.
Okay,
Historically, they will,
okay.
and they will expect us to pay 50% of it.
Well, in
That,
the,
that is what they normally ask for.
okay.
I think though that's another point of contention really, but that's not for now.
Well, in that case, maybe there's value in us writing to the Chamber of Trade and saying very, very clearly, we would like to be more active. We would like to be more helpful.
If we are paying that sort of money, we have the right to be involved.
Yeah.
Apart from the fact that we're saying we will help, we won't leave you to do it on your own. We're saying we like to be involved because we
are fronting up a lot
Yeah.
of money.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we write to them about both events, given they're already planning December, obviously the council session may disrupt any individual councillor's commitment. But I still think that it's an important thing to do, because if they're already planning it.
Well, if we say we want to be involved and nobody does get involved, then they've got an argument, haven't they? But if they say that, and then even if 3 or 4 of us turn up, they've got another eight hands, haven't they?
Yeah.
And 8 feet to do whatever needs to be
Whatever
done.
needs doing,
So can I propose that we write to the Chamber of Trade about both instances, expressing our thanks for them being active, but also to ask to how we can help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second that.
More proactively. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Good stuff. The part 2 of A, if you like, is involvement in the City of Culture. Now, at the Full Town Council in December, I wasn't there, but in the minutes I saw that there was a representative of the City of Culture. From what I've read, either in those minutes or elsewhere, I can't remember. Currently, City of Culture have got 3 employees, and that will expand to about 80. So it's going to be quite a rapid recruitment process, presumably, and quite an aggressive one at that too. So therefore, there may be opportunity for us to sort of get involved with any of these new or the existing hires to try and ensure that Bingley, to borrow a phrase, gets a fair share of the pie, if you like. I wasn't at the meeting, so I can't really speak to it beyond that.
I think it was a high level overview of almost the bid, really, wasn't it? Where they wanted to go. I'm still unclear as to exactly what they think they're actually going to do it. That has to be said. So
No, right. There doesn't seem to be much meat on the bones, does there, as to where they're going with it and what they're planning.
But I've forgotten the name of the lady who came, so keep in contact with her, and so I think probably mid-Feb we should approach them again and say, have you got any further?
What are you doing? Can we help?
What are you doing? Can we help? What do you want to bring to Bingley? What sorts of things? When? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm still after some of their money early for nice waymarking.
Absolutely.
Not sure if it's relevant, but the guy that's running Bingley Music Town has got a straight line into that 2025 culture thing.
All right.
And he's talking to people about bringing, like, his master plan is if we get, I don't know, Kaiser Chiefs to play in Bradford because they're from Menston, which is near Bradford. Can they come here and do a gig on this Saturday afternoon before the main one, Saturday night, that sort of thing? And he hasn't been told no.
Oh, I like that.
I like that because I like Kaiser Chiefs.
Mr. Carpenter, well, as said, John said earlier, he's going to the next meeting.
Oh, good.
So,
I was on the committee for that, but I've chucked off. I'm still doing a task for them right now at home, but I decided I didn't want to go to a talk shop every month. They can just, when a discrete task pops up, I'll go off and do it.
Yeah, very well. Understand that. 30B, to consider Town Council organising events in 2023. So we've kind of referred to that by the third party conversation. But council events in their own right, again, because we're coming to the end of the council session, that becomes maybe slightly more difficult.
Yeah, possibly, but I don't think there's anything stopping us saying laying the groundwork
No.
for some things. I mean, I was at a meeting with the area office earlier in the week, looking at their plan, their action plan for the area. And one of the things that came up in going through that was, do we have an environmental day and have plastic free Bingley, and maybe make a big thing, possibly sometime in September on the market square.
Yeah.
You know, can we do some of these things? There are other things, and I know, like Marcia said, she was planning on having a women's day in March or something, where there'd be events in the arts centre. So there's things. I think we could lay the groundwork for some things and be involved, and whatever we want to do ourselves. Obviously, John's got his bandstand concerts that he wants to put on.
Yeah. Is there a value in us having almost a calendar that we can sort of share with each other, and that calendar would have not just events on, but like when posts are going to be shared? So we're talking about Debbie having the monthly come and take our money post. If with any other scheduled posts we could include that. You might already have that, and maybe we could just hijack it. I don't know.
Yeah, if you've got access to the Facebook